is a really big change for babies and toddlers. Your baby may not remember it as much as your toddler might, but it's still going to be a big deal. So let's talk about how we can make this a smooth transition, especially when it comes to sleeping in a new room. I have 6 great tips for you today, but let's jump right in with tip number 1. This is by far the most important thing. If you don't do anything else that I tell you to do in this video, you have to do this. Your baby or toddler's bedroom needs to be the very last thing that you pack and the very first thing that you unpack. So let's say, for example, you're moving in the afternoon. You need to let your baby have their nap in their crib, in their room, in their regular space. Once they're up, you can pack it all up and go along your day and move. You should unpack that stuff, not just to the point of just putting everything in the room that it belongs in, but setting it up properly. That means you need to have the white noise, you need to have the blackout curtains, you need to have that in their room as soon as you get to the new place. Now, this is true whether you have 1 kid, 2 kids, or 3 kids, or 4 kids, or 10 kids. It does not matter. You need to make sure that setting up their room is a priority. On top of that, it is just going to be so much easier when you know that come bedtime, your child's room is all set up and all you have to do is go through your bedtime routine and get them in bed and asleep, and you can go about the rest of your evening unpacking and starting to get settled. I know a lot of people want to do kitchens and bathrooms first, but I highly recommend just making sure you've got some toilet paper, any diapering needs, making sure that you have those things ready for the bathroom, some soap, towels or paper towels, and for the kitchen, get some pizza, guys. Get some pizza, have some paper plates, napkins, paper cups, all the things. You can set up the kitchen tomorrow. Jumping to tip number 2 is to have your child's bedroom be a similar layout to what they had previously in your old home. I know this may not always be possible. However, most rooms are square or rectangle shaped, so let's try, depending on where windows are and what might be safe for your child, let's try and put their crib in the same place that it was in their room before and everything surrounding. So if you have a rocking chair right next to the crib, try and put it right next to it again. If the dresser was across the room on the other side, try and put it in the same place that it was in your old house. Even if it doesn't stay this way, you can rearrange things later, but just try to make it as familiar and similar as possible. Tip number 3 is to have a similar, not even just similar, but the same exact routine that you had at bedtime before you moved. This is not a time to say, hey, let's switch up the bedtime routine. This is a time to keep everything consistent, 100% the same as what you did before. If you feel like you need to change up your bedtime routine, do so after your child is settled into their new space. Tip number 4 is to keep their sleep schedule exactly the same. This is not time to drop a nap. This is not time to change their bedtime an hour later or wake them up an hour earlier in the morning. If you can help it, keep it exactly the same. Tip number 5 is to spend some time during the day in your child's new space. So let's say, for example, you get all of the furniture set up the exact day that you move. The next couple of days, have your child spend some time in their room with you, maybe decorating the walls or setting up their closet or making sure your blackout windows are installed properly. So speaking of the blackout curtains, I always recommend blackout easy window covers, and the blackout easy window covers are customized to the exact size of your window. So if you can bring those with you and they will work out in the new house, then great, fantastic. If not, then you can use a temporary solution until you can get the exact blackout solution that you need for your child's room for the long run. What I love about the blackout easy window covers is that they Velcro right onto the wall or to the window, and then you can still use blinds and curtains. So it's really just, it's not impacting like the cuteness of your child's room, and it really blacks out the entire room. So I 110,000% recommend getting blackout easy window covers. I am full of all of this knowledge about baby and toddler sleep. If you are enjoying this video so far, but you find yourself having some lingering questions, then you can book an Ask Me Anything call linked in the description box down below, where you can have 30 minutes to pick my brain about anything regarding your baby or toddler's sleep schedules. I am here to answer all of your questions, as I am a certified pediatric sleep consultant with my degree in child life psychology and early childhood education. Tip number 6 is to understand that you might need to provide your child with some extra comfort measures for the first 2 weeks of living in a new home. This might mean some extra cuddles at bedtime. It might mean that they have some additional middle of the night wake ups that you may need to comfort them for, and that's okay. It's a big new space. It's probably bigger than the house that you probably had, and it's probably just completely different. Maybe it's a totally different layout, and maybe your child doesn't know that it's affecting them and affecting their mood, and this big new thing is a huge change. So just have reasonable expectations that your child might struggle with this change. While it is very exciting, they may still subconsciously have a little bit of confusion and a little bit of sadness in missing their old home and their old way of doing things. So a little bit of extra comfort can go a long way. I would only recommend that if you need to do extra comfort measures at bedtime or through the night, that you only offer this extra level of support for 1 to 2 weeks, and then you need to go straight back to how your child was independently sleeping before you move. Now, again, if you need help with getting things back on track and you just need a one-time call, you can book that in the description box down below. So to wrap it all up in a beautiful bow, the 3 things that you need to have is familiarity, consistency, and comfort. Make sure that you have those 3 things all ducks in a row for your child, and everything will go smooth sailing. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget that I am always here to help you and to help your family continue getting as much sleep as you all need and deserve, and keep blooming. Mwah.